What's up, what's up? We are off to take a look at a lot today, a building lot. And I'm gonna actually show you guys what to look for when exploring basically, lots in general, which mean places without homes. So, sorry, don't know where I'm going, so I got the GPS on. So anyway, I'm gonna show you guys today. We're gonna drive over and take a peek. Yeah, I know how to get out of the neighborhood. Shh, be quiet. I'm gonna show you what I need to look for before I even have really any information on the lot itself, and I'll kind of walk you through scenarios of when you go onto a lot, trying to assess is building feasible even when the lot is for sale, because sometimes there's not really feasibility with some of these lots. So this one's pretty feasible overall in the pictures, but you always got to go out and look at them, so we're gonna go check it out.
Left turn.
All right, onward. All right, so here we are, made it up to the lot. And the first things that I'm gonna start with are kind of just getting a visual of sight lines and kind of level lot versus elevated lot. Pictures on a MLS site don't do a whole lot of justice on lots, especially knowing the people that usually take those pictures. So you wanna come out here and get a real good visual of actually based on what you're trying to accomplish with the build, and you should know that ahead of time. Make sure you know what type of structure you're gonna build, or have several concept floor plans in mind before you start looking at lots, because one of those has to fit on the lot that you're going to build on, and it's gonna depend on some of the elevation of the lot in regards to, are you looking for a view from the main bedroom? Are you looking for a walkout basement, etc., etc. So you got to have some idea of what you're actually looking to build, or some concepts that you're trying to take to a lot, if that makes sense. So I'm out here, and you can see it's a pretty level lot, or the ones I'm looking at. There are several available right now. So that's what I'm looking at right now. The funniest part about pulling up to these lots is these guys that are building on the other ones, I actually know them. So that's actually good information for me. I'm actually gonna call these other builders. I'm gonna find out exactly what they paid for the lot, because the ones that I'm looking up right now, they hadn't actually submitted numbers yet. So the MLS wasn't showing closing costs, or closing purchase price of the lots. That helps me kind of designate what these really are going for, as opposed to what they're listed at. So I need to know the actual value, and that's based on what these builders are buying them at right now. So I'm here. I've noticed I got some good information. I can actually kind of pick their brain and get some good insider info, as you call it. Now I'm out looking at level, elevation of lot, how level is it, considering what I'm looking to build here. And I've got a couple of ideas in mind, including the alternative construction ideas that we're kind of working on. So, all right, so far so good. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go walk the front of the property. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look for the pins, and the pins are actually the marks for the property boundaries, okay? Generally, they look like this. And they're either gonna be pinned on the sidewalk or on the curb leading up to the lot, okay? So I can use that as my boundary for each lot. And what I have with me, you guys can pick one of these up at any hardware store or Home Depot, just a measuring wheel, okay? And all I'm gonna do is verify what's in the MLS as far as lot size. So what I do is I start from that pin, and I'm gonna roll to the next pin and see what the actual lot size is, okay? So I'm gonna roll it as straight and steady as I can get it. There's the pin right there. So I'm gonna stop and look down at my number. So that's about exactly what they have measured on the MLS site itself at 45 feet, okay? So front of the lot is actually adding up. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna walk out here on the lot. I'm gonna take a peek at where they've got stakes, and I'm gonna kind of walk from that leftmost boundary where that pin was, try and walk straight back. And I can tell you right now, that the stakes that were probably up here before are gone. So I'm gonna have to go off of what's in the county assessor's website for lot size, what's recorded, and then the listing agent is gonna have to kind of just tell me what they have as far as lot size as well, so I can confirm. Obviously, before you build, if you're gonna buy a lot and you're getting ready to build, the first thing you're gonna get is a site survey, and that's gonna go ahead and verify these boundaries for the property themselves. And the second thing you want to get is a soils report. So you have to have a soils engineer come out and do soil samples so you know what kind of soil you're dealing with. That is going to be required to pull a permit. And you want to verify, good money spent, you want to verify what type of soil it is, and if it's actually going to be buildable, or if it's going to be too much of a cost for the type of foundation you can do, or it will determine the type of foundation you can do. You're going to verify if it's actually a good deal or not. So sometimes that's even worth it, depending on type of lot. If you're building more up in the mountains or in a rockier terrain, you might want to go ahead and get a soil survey, or sorry, site surveys, but soil report before you even go under contract. Because if you've gotten to that point, you may not be able to get out of the contract very easily. And if you determine it's an unbuildable site per actual cost to build, then that's going to be really difficult to negotiate out of, and you don't want to get stuck with a lot that's going to be too costly to build on. So keep that in mind. Other than that, I'm just going to go and I'm going to walk. I'm going to do my my measurements as best I can. There's a couple stakes back in the corners, but I'm not sure that's actually for this lot. It's for the next one. So I have to go ahead and read those numbers if they're even accurate to this point. And again, if you can't find those, do your best to at least visualize the lot from any pins you can find, and go from there. The next thing you want to do is find if these sites, these lots, have utilities pulled to them or not. In the MLS listing, it'll generally tell you that, but you want to come out and verify it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find the water tap and the utilities tap, which means they're pulling utilities into the property, and from there you pull them to the structure. And I want to verify where they are and how far from the middle of the site they are. That way I can determine where I can put my house and start determining rough costs of running utilities from city to the home. Okay, what are you looking for when you're looking for utilities? The first thing you're looking for is going to be data and power. So all the underground power is pulled to the property. And again, like I said, MLS will usually say that in the listing. You want to verify that. These are actually at the back of the property. So there's your two pedestals, as we call them, for power and data. So I've located those on the other lot. And then I've also got my property stake here. So this is the back of the property. Everything's been ripped off here. They've been listed for a while. So that actually is marking the back of the property. I don't have that flag shows me it is, just because I know that's what it is, but usually it'll be marked when they're newer. And then I can run those out to each stake along the back of this property line. So that corner right there is telling me that's the edge of that property. And you can see it's fairly well cleared already. So I don't have to worry about too much as far as removing trees or moving trees or anything like that. I got a culvert running here. So on the back side of this property, we've got a lowland area. It's not in a floodplain, but that's actually running water away from these homes through a culvert in a retention area. It's a retention ditch. So it's civil management has been out to work on moving water around this lower lying area where water can kind of be built up. So that's the other thing to be looking at as far as your lot when you're coming out to verify and inspect. Okay, so when you're looking for water tap, you're either gonna find a big circular metal cover that's gonna be somewhere on the property, depending on how they run them. Generally, they're at the front of the property if you have paved streets coming in already, because that's running in underground, obviously, from the city to the site if they've pulled it. These have been buried for a little bit, but they do have blue 2x4 marking the top of the taps. If I was to kind of dig around that, there's actually a tap underneath that. I only know that because we use blue for water to mark everything. So you're either going to be able to visually see it, or they're going to have some sort of mark with that, which is represented by blue, showing where those water taps are, or you're going to have a stake that'll label it and it'll tell you exactly where that is based on those stakes. Front of the property is actually ideal for building because you're putting the property beyond the front on some sort of required setback. And if these lots are pretty big, I've got some room to go back. There are requirements as to where you can build on the site itself. You can't just put the house anywhere you want. Those are deemed setbacks, and those are going to be explained through the city or county ordinances and zoning codes, and they're also going to be deemed per any sort of HOA or architectural guidelines. So keep those in mind. Those are all the things we'll go over again on the computer as well, but that's how you locate your utilities. And the one other thing I'm going to point out on this lot is that, and there's, like I said, there's several available. This one actually has a fire hydrant within 500 feet of the property. As a matter of fact, it's right out front. And you can see that right there. That determines insurance, because in case there's a fire in the neighborhood, the fire truck's gonna pull up right in front of your house. So sometimes the fire truck comes through and they wreck shop on some of these areas if there's to be a fire. So you have to be careful when you're looking at properties. If you've got a fire hydrant within 500 feet, you got to get more detail into cost of insurance and any other requirements that the city or local ordinances may have you do in order to build in front of a fire hydrant. So you got to keep that in mind. So that being said, I'm definitely going to lean towards the other lot, because I'm only going to buy one of these over here for right now at least. And that lot is this one right here. And it actually has a little bit of sloping terrain that goes out, but I think it also has the best view. So right now it's fall, but as winter approaches, those leaves go away, and right behind those big set of trees are mountain views. So 7 months out of the year, you're gonna get mountain views. Keep that in mind as well when you're looking at properties. You wanna have the best views. Here in Colorado, there's all kinds of spots you can find that have that. Very drawing factor to someone buying the home at the end, because the ultimate goal here is to finish it and sell it and make money, right? So those are kind of the key points to keep in mind when looking at a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and finish my measurements. That's stuff you guys don't need to see, it's kind of boring. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do my due diligence ahead of time on, one, calling the builders that I know that are already over here, see if I can dig any more information out from them. Yes, we're competitors, but yes, we do like to share information as well. And it's all about how you ask them, right? So keep that in mind. And then I'm gonna verify with the listing agent site depth, so I know exactly where it is. And that is about it as far as wrapping up a site and what you're looking for. I'm also seeing a couple guys come and go here on the other houses that are being finished up. There are architectural guideline requirements for this neighborhood. That's something else you need to do during due diligence, and we'll go through that on the computer as far as what other things to be looking for when you're trying to assess is a site buildable for what you want to accomplish. Other than that, I think that's about it.
Okay, so let's get into this. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to search for land on Zillow. I know most of you guys actually are not licensed, and if you're not in Colorado, then showing you something on the MLS isn't going to make a whole lot of sense to you. So we're going to do it on Zillow. First thing you're going to do, I like to do, is if I know my area or my city that I'm looking for land in, I want to do that. So I'm actually going to start with a zip code. All right. You don't necessarily have to go this direction, but that starts your boundaries. If you're kind of looking in that area, and if you don't find anything, you kind of move on from there. But so start with zip code, okay? Then you're gonna hit lots and land. Okay, that's just checked. You don't want any of these other boxes checked. We're just looking for land, okay? Hit done. If you want to set a price, you can go in here, set a minimum, maximum. I'm going to leave it alone. When you're searching for land, especially in my area, my neck of the woods, it's going to be a little bit scarce along with everything else in real estate right now. So I'm not going to set any price points because, it's all about the build cost at that point. If the land is $400,000, but you can make a decent profit building a $2 million home on it, then you're going to look at it. So I want to see what's available overall in these boundaries. It's going to pull these up. These results are over here on the right. If I don't have enough over here that I'm happy with, then I may hit remove boundary, and I can start clicking just different areas. So if I hit remove boundary, right, it's going to show me everything. Make sure, double check, make sure it says lots and land. So it's going to show me everything that's available just really everywhere. It can get a little hairy when you start doing this. As you can see, I got 232 results from that. So that can get overwhelming, to say the least. But like I said, if you know where you're looking, or if you want to draw an area, you can also draw on here. Again, I'm going to hit this. So that's going to set a boundary for me. And then I'm going to go from there. Double check. Yep. Okay, so I got a bunch of land. Now, the lots that I was looking at earlier are not listed. These are actually off-market deals at the moment. I know who the realtor is, and like I showed you guys earlier, I know who's the other builders who are on those other lots in the neighborhood. That's kind of how I came to see these. I have known about these lots for a while. They've changed hands, and I'm trying to get a deal done, so we'll see what happens. Long story short, we're going to go ahead and look at some lots that are available. I drove by this one today. It does not exist. This is a weird one. Let's see. So I'm going to try and find some stuff that's going to actually be buildable. Let's go back to that $125,000 lot. Okay, so you click on that like you would if you're looking for property, and then sometimes they actually will kind of diagram on an aerial view what this looks like. So these are actually pictures that are done by someone that knows what they're doing, if that makes sense. So it says over 1 acre off Sugarloaf Road, which is kind of up in the foothills here. See, it's got any more information on it. Just like existing properties, it's going to give you a breakdown of kind of the listing if they have it. So let's see, this has been on the market since it looks like last November. I would actually still go verify this in the MLS, but for you guys' sake, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to pull through some of this information on here. And contact existing properties, comparables in the area. Gordon Creek Road is actually not very close, but that's okay. So there you go. So you're going to have information on this. Sometimes you'll have pictures. Like I said, if you got aerial pictures, then a diagram, that's pretty cool. You can then go into the assessor website. So the county that it's in, figure out what county this land is in, type up that county website, and then search by the address, and you can get more information and a more detailed description of this lot, okay? Do all of this before you go out and drive it. If it's close, whatever, then you can go out and drive it anyway, but try and do some of your due diligence ahead of running out there. So let's say we like this lot, okay? And we're going to go out and drive it and take a peek at it. Now we're going to move on to the next step in this whole process, which is you like it, you've done your due diligence, your building costs are going to work, you get it under contract, you're going to try and move forward with the whole thing. You've gone through your next step, which we talked about, which is getting a land survey, okay? So a PIN survey is what I call it, is what's going to diagram the property for you. And you're going to pay anywhere from $700 to $1,100 for one of these PIN surveys, okay? Now, there are different types of descriptive land surveys out there. The PIN survey is the one that's going to verify the actual lot per the way it is described in the county website, per the way it was divided in the municipality you're looking in, okay? That's the legal lot is what the PIN survey is describing. For a lot of transactions in real estate, all you're going to need is an ILC. An ILC is really just an improvement location certificate. So here in Colorado, it's just basically it's a map prepared by a licensed land surveyor, and it just shows the visible improvements on a particular parcel. Typically, that's what I said is going to be used in real estate transaction for existing properties. They're basically just going to verify any improvements on the property as per recorded on the assessor's website, and that's just going to be for the lender. It's going to show, the position of the house, driveways that are there, any visible utilities as they relate to the boundaries, easements if they do describe them, so on and so forth. It's going to have, a lot of times it will have actual dimensions, but those dimensions have not been verified by the pins located by the surveyor or determined by the surveyor. Okay, so an ILC is basically just to satisfy the lender for existing properties as they're changing hands. There's not a whole lot of time when they're going to be asking for a PIN survey when you're doing an existing property exchange, selling, buying. What you will need a PIN survey for is to build a new structure, or if you're going to do something that's really it's going to encroach upon the setbacks on the property itself if it's going to get real close. So you guys don't really need to have to worry about that on the real estate side if you're not building. But if you're going to be building a new home, and this is a development opportunity for you, then you will be doing a PIN survey. And that's what this is right in front of you, okay? So this is an existing one that I did a while back for a project. And this is what you'll be looking at. So the first section of the survey is going to break down the lot and block, okay? So this is basically the existing close-in neighborhood is under a microscope, okay? So it's going to show surrounding lots. It's going to show the neighborhood. The partial legal description is on here. It's going to show the streets. Like I said, the lot and block that's in here as described in the assessor website, and then your subject property, which is right here, okay? This is the important stuff that you want to have in front of you, okay? This is the actual PIN survey locating the property boundaries and the property as located on this lot, okay? This is for an existing structure we're having verified for a second-story addition. This is what's called an ALTA survey. So it's basically showing all the visible improvements on a particular parcel and anything within 5 feet of the boundaries of the parcel, or just locating if it's just an unimproved lot, it's going to locate the boundaries and everything on that, including easements. So all the required details are going to be under that ALTA survey, again done by a licensed surveyor, and it's going to locate the existing pins, or it's going to establish them if it's a new lot. Okay, so this is basically what you're going to have to start learning how to look at as you get more in depth into building lots if you're going to do a development project, okay? Simple way to read one of these, all right? So the first thing you want to do is find the north arrow on your subject PIN survey, okay? So we're going to zoom out here for a second. And we're going to find the north arrow. Okay, so here it is. All right, so there's your graphical north arrow, okay? So then you're going to start with that, and what you do is you orient to the north arrow itself, okay? And then you find the point of beginning on this parcel, and that's going to be located by either an arrow to a point here that says POB, point of beginning, or they're just going to color that one in, okay? And shockingly, on this property, they actually found, which must have been done from a survey within the last 5 years, they actually found rebar and a cap, which is what it's noted here, as location of the point of beginning. Surprising only because this house was built in, I believe, 1930, so really hard to locate pins on a house that's that old. Anything past like 15 years old in a neighborhood, you're good luck trying to find a pin. Surveyors are usually going to relocate it based on their detail, or they're going to reestablish it based on what information they have with that municipality. And then they're going to remark it. They're going to actually set a new pin. On an undeveloped piece of property, they're going to set those pins, like I showed you, on the sidewalk or right in the curb somewhere, and they're going to usually be spray painted so it's easy to locate. Okay, so from point of beginning, you start with your north orientation, and then you're going to see that pin, and then you're going to have some numbers here. Okay, so this says N, and then a bunch of blah 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 blah. Right? What this says is north 0 degrees, 13 minutes, and 10 seconds. East, okay? So what that means is from the north arrow, this line from here to here is 46.05 feet. Now, these aren't inches. These are decimal points of a foot, okay? This minutes and seconds is just a segment of the degrees from north. So it's basically saying from this point to this point, it is slightly more than 0 degrees. So it's 13 minutes, 10 seconds northeast to this point. So from here to here, you head northeast to find this point. Okay, that's what. Hopefully that makes sense. And then you run down this property. Okay, and the description here is north 89 degrees, 59 minutes, 46 seconds west. Okay, so this direction from here to here, we're heading west from your initial point of beginning. All right, so really what you're doing is each segment, each line on here is going to contain numbers and letters indicating the direction from north that the line proceeds, okay, to the next point like I showed you. So, like we showed, this is your distance of 125 feet from this point to this point, and you're heading in a direction from north, 89 degrees, 59 minutes, 46 seconds to the west. That gets you to your next point, okay? So again, those degrees, the minutes and seconds are just basically just subdivisions of degrees, okay? Like I said, just make sure you're facing north to begin with, and then that's how you find this next point. And that's just basically describing each point you go to in a distance from here to here and those degrees to find the next point. Then you head to this point, and then you'll go 13 minutes and 9 seconds west from going south from here to here. So that's southwest of the first point. And then from that point, you're going to head back to the east to your point of beginning. And again, that's going to show your linear dimension from that point to that point of 125 feet. Okay, so that's basically how you describe the boundaries of the lot. Second thing, like I said, it's going to describe everything that's existing on the property. So they're going to show an old shed here, an old garage. All of your dimensions are located in here. And then like I was describing before, it's showing setbacks. So 39 feet, so 39.9 feet here is from the shed to the back of the house. It shows a wood deck on here. It shows the house itself. So you have all your dimensions of the house all the way around as it's set on the property, okay? So these numbers here and here, okay, are the setbacks. These are the side setbacks of the property. So this side, here's your property line. 2 feet in from this property line is the house. 10.9 feet from this line to here is the house, okay? Here's your front setback. These are all important because you have to have setbacks. This is what determines on an undeveloped lot where you can be building your home. These are going to be predetermined minimum setbacks to determine your building envelope. You have to know where these are. So that's why I was out there earlier trying to figure out where everything was located, because you need to know if your concept design is going to fit on this lot. Hopefully that all makes sense there, okay? So 32.5 feet from the front property line to the house locates the front of the house. It's showing the driveway, come wrap around here, any other things that are located on here. Here's your front street. It's existing curb and gutters located. Here's your sidewalk. And then it'll show your adjacent properties here as well. So that's basic information of how to read a site survey, okay? Then all of your other information is in here. We don't need to get into that. That's all for just really builder information and surveyor information. That's a basic understanding of how to read a site survey and a survey plat. Sorry. So those are kind of the basic things you want to know in understanding how to look at one of these and how to determine if your concept will fit on that lot. All right, guys, that does it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully most of that made sense. If it doesn't, go back, watch it again. This, again, is more complicated, advanced. We would call it real estate flipping and projects. This is obviously a development project, and understanding how to read a land survey and an ILC is important regardless for real estate, especially as you're looking to get your license. You need to be able to read the basic information on one of these. So it's important to have this regardless. If you haven't, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Definitely helps us out. Hit that bell for notifications so you get those future videos as we're pumping them out. Make sure you follow me on Instagram as well, at Shane Bailey Builder. Don't forget to follow Lending Tips as well, at Lending Tips, for all of your mortgage and refi needs. He is there to help you guys in any facet. The guy is amazing. He also can ask or answer any questions. Ask him any real estate questions. He is there to help you. He's extremely knowledgeable and pretty much the GOAT. So make sure you do that. Until next time, guys, I appreciate it. If you got any questions, leave those in the comment section below as well. And we'll catch you on the next one.